Sigourney? We're Darkness Partisan Salad. Now listen here to this ballad. We seem to arrive all the way to season 5. Space croutons have been all around. Now we're homeward bound. Just give us the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Space croutons. Space croutons.
Sigourney Weaver.
Who?
Everybody's doing it.
Curdy Clammerwood here, saying hello. You know, I can't tell you how much I enjoy hearing that theme song, just knowing it means a new episode of Space Croutons is on its way across the galaxies and into your ears. There's nothing we'd rather do than to be right here with you, sharing all the fantastic stories that come our way. And of course, I wouldn't want to do it without the hardest working AI in the business, my friend and co-host, Sally.
Thank you, Curdy. You listeners can't see me, but I am greeting you all with virtual waves from my podcast cockpit in the back of Van Helsing, ready to once again get our 5th season freak flag flying.
Well, I'm not sure just how freaky we're going to get, but by now I think we're pretty much ready for anything.
Including another visit to SALI's Poetry Corner? It has been a while.
Sure, if we have to.
We do, Curdy. After all, there is no heart without art.
Or heartburn either, but I digress. Go ahead.
Welcome, gentle listeners, once again to SALI's Poetry Corner, the AI destination for artistic integrity and all things poetic. Today, I will recite for your pleasure a new sonnet I call Apologies to Shakespeare, Longfellow, et al. Shall I compare thee to a sonnet's rhyme? In that familiar pentameter iambic, or perhaps to that Baba time, when Mary had a little Lamech, or maybe you would like to be, an ode on an urn quite Grecian, when really if you ask of me, I'd wonder are you more Phoenician? But back to you in poetical form. Are you Lennon, McCartney, Harrison? Or would Dr. Seuss take your arm, as the most apropos comparison? Or alas and alack, are you even a poet? Let's look at your feet and see if they show it.
You know, Sally, your poetry must be growing on me. I didn't hate that verse nearly as much as your previous efforts. You just might be getting better.
Coming from you, I take that as a compliment.
As you should. So, is it story time?
Well, how about we run a commercial to cleanse the palate of my high art before presenting the creative expression of our featured storyteller?
I tell you, Sally, nobody does logistics like you. That plan is quite copacetic. As Sally suggests, listeners, here's a word from our sponsor.
Looking for a game you can sink your teeth into?
Drill or no drill?
How about a quiz that could leave you impacted?
Drill or no drill?
And what about a lightning round that has losers leaving the studio with a plaque around their gum line?
Drill or no drill?
That's right, the first game show where your dental insurance does not guarantee that you'll go home with a smile. On Drill or No Drill, contestants take their place in the chair, answering questions like, what kind of wood was George Washington's dentures made of?
Cherry wood?
Sorry, but you either lose a molar or get a crown. Which will it be? Drill or no drill?
4 out of 5 dentists recommend drill or no drill to their patients who still have their wisdom teeth. The use of Novocaine, laughing gas, or just a ball-peen hammer to the noggin is optional and at the discretion of some overworked hygienists with masochistic tendencies. Drill or no drill is not publicly sanctioned by the American Dental Association, but is a favorite of the National Hockey League. Drill or no drill, a production of the Benefactor Television Network.
I guess there's just no end to the products and services that find us here at Space Croutons. And now, for your listening pleasure, we have a new contributor who sent in his story through Sally's new AI telepathy app.
That's right, Curdy. I call the app Premonotion. It works by picking up the thoughts of its members and projecting them to the ROM on one of my external hard drives, where it is inspected and deloused of any viruses or spam programs before making it available for our use.
And you say these come from your subscription members on your app that have agreed to let you read their thoughts?
Sure. We'll go with that.
Well, now, Sally, we talked about this. You can't go around reading people's thoughts without their knowledge.
All my subscribers have signed the terms and conditions, which spell out the parameters very clearly on page 2001 of said document, so no worries there. And besides, Bozi is from a distant planet he refers to as Ababo, which makes any real legal issues hazy.
Well, okay then. Just make sure you don't include me in your beta testing. I like to keep my thoughts to myself.
Heard. So listeners, allow me to present our first wave from the Premonotion Ocean, a tale we are calling at the insistence of the author, Knight of the Grampire.
Just an invitation. A simple, welcome to my home, please come in. That is all it takes to know me. I smell of the wind and blood. I am the howl of the wolf, the damp of the mist, and the flapping of bats' wings. I am the hard gaze of quiet fear when the darkness brings me to you. I am the touch of hungry breath on your neck before I introduce you to the taste of death, for I am the Vampire Bozi. I am aware of what you on Earth know of us, mostly true, but not all. I have read your literature and watched your films, and I even use Earth as a hunting ground, taking of its bountiful resources. I'm speaking here of your blood, as your own imperial explorers have done from those indigenous inhabitants found occupying a place throughout your own history. We are very much like you in that way, so I assume you understand. Yes, there are blood drinkers whom you have battled here on Earth, and I can confirm that the vampires who turned your first ones originated on my home planet Ababo. But what many of you have come to consider a demonic plague was for us a scientific breakthrough that we welcomed as a way to bring an end to fevers, death, and mortality itself. The drinking of blood was an acceptable side effect we adapted to eagerly. And when we discovered your planet, we noticed that, like us, your humanoid society showed a clear desire to extend life. We expected you would embrace our medical advances just as we did, but your misunderstanding of sacrifice clouds your perspective. We were wrong about you, and in return you view us as monsters. But your hostile response to our offering of eternal life did not deter us from visiting your world, and for a very simple reason: your ample supply of blood. We find you quite tasty, and so we return again and again. I have dined here for centuries, but it is one particular visit that I wish to tell you about now. It was your Earth year 1915, midwinter in America. A time of war for much of your world, but also a time of quiet darkness, as long nights fell with grace over the places where fighting had not yet creeped in. It was common for us to settle for extended Earth stays in those silent nooks and crannies where calm held sway, where we could fit in and fade into the background for safety. We would then seek out the places of conflict as our hunting grounds, easy to explain death a disguise for our unabated feasting. So from the stillness of America I would nightly fly in a flash to the theaters of war in Europe, returning before dawn sated and sleepy, ready to slumber the day away. I should clarify that while we do rest peacefully during sunlit hours, I do not sleep in a coffin, as death has not been a condition of our existence for millennia. I cannot presume to know just why this death box nonsense is part of your vampire lore, but suffice it to say, not having to haul one around makes travel for us easy, and our presence less suspicious when we are here. So, that evening in 1915, I had just arisen and after attending to my ablutions, I set out for my hotel toward a secluded stand of trees in a park on the edge of a tiny Delaware town that I was using as a local launch pad for my nightly excursions. This night, I was planning to see a bit of occupied Italy because, well, who doesn't like Italian? As I stepped to the sidewalk, I was absent-mindedly muttering "Buongiorno" to myself, but I must have spoken louder than I thought as a young woman standing on the corner bus stop turned to me with a smile and responded with her own
"Hello."
I typically choose to stay distant and aloof, avoiding interactions with those among whom I reside during Earth trips. Drawing attention to oneself invites questions and concern, especially during your times of conflict, and I would have passed on by this time but for her smile.
"Are you a refugee?"
The question was simple and direct, containing no suspicion or pity.
"I know what it is to be in a strange place. I'm from California myself."
She pulled the collar up on her light blue coat. A deep red scarf nestled around her throat, and the slight scent of her warm, pulsing veins tickled my nose. I am not a refugee, no, but I am from far away. I smiled and looked beyond her to dissolve the connection politely. Forgive me for having distracted you from your evening. I am on my way to meet someone for dinner. Please accept my apologies and enjoy your night. As I moved past her, she spun with me and said,
"Are you headed for the park?"
which caused me to pause in mid-step. I looked back at her and saw she was still smiling, now with her whole face, and something told me to choose my words carefully. But before I could, she continued.
"I've seen you there, in the park. I've seen what you do. In the trees?"
There was no fear in her voice, nor disbelief, no indication whatsoever that this was anything more than a normal conversation between two people on a regular street corner on a cold but pleasant evening in December. She waited a few seconds for a response, but I was still not ready, so she took a breath, held out her gloved hand, and offered.
"Like I've said, I've seen you in the trees at the edge of town and decided I wanted to meet you. My name is Donna."
We stood for a moment before I slowly took her hand in greeting. It rested delicately in mine for just a second before she drew it back and placed it on her hip.
"You don't talk much, do you? I mean, your English is pretty good for being from far away."
She looked up to the sky and then back at me, seemingly ready for whatever my response might be. I looked around and saw the street was empty except for us, but still I couldn't bring myself to say anything, feeling that if I spoke, I would make myself even more vulnerable than I felt already. Donna just waited until with a sigh I uttered, "I am Bozi." This was my surrender for the moment. "Do not hunt where you sleep," was my ironclad rule of operation, and no one had ever before broken my cover, if indeed Donna had. I realized with a start how complacent I had become and how unprepared it had made me.
"Hello, Bozi. It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance. I can tell you're a bit worried right now, but I swear I will tell no one who or what you are, ever."
She placed a hand over her heart, which I could see soundly beating in her chest. "Are you from my home?" My mind was poring over reasons why Donna could be so matter-of-fact about all of this, and her being from Ababo could explain it.
"Nope, I'm a Californian through and through, but I would love to hear about your home."
She took one step forward as her hands relaxed to her side, and this move seemed to release me from my stupor, so I said, "My apologies again, miss, but I fear you have mistaken me for someone. As I said, I am on my way to dinner with a friend, so I will now take my leave. I do not know you, and you do not know me." I started down the block and stopped again when I heard her say,
"I know you are a vampire."
And in the blink of an eye I reacted, grabbing Donna by the throat and swinging us both around the corner of the red brick hotel into the side alley, where I pinned her in the shadows, feet dangling against a cold, hard wall. You think this is a game? I could take your life right now, drain you, dispose of your body, and no one would ever know. With a quick gasp of air, she chuckled.
I really hope you won't, because I need you.
Stunned for the second time by Donna's complete lack of fear, I gently released her, easing her to the ground and stepping back, still fully aware that no one was about and I could still snap her neck, but a voice in my head told me to wait and listen and then decide. You need me. I paced a little to the left and waited for her response. She cleared her throat and nodded.
Yes, Bozi. If you'll let me explain, I think you'll understand why I cannot afford to be afraid of you, and why you do not need to be afraid of me. But first I need a drink. I know a bar just down the street. Will you join me?
I will join you, but I do not drink wine. And with that, the tension broke, and we walked out of the alley and into a small tavern where there were only 2 other patrons, both smelling of cigarettes and loneliness, sitting at the bar. We took a table in an empty corner. As Donna ordered a couple of Luxburgers from the barkeep, I began compiling a list of questions in my head. When she returned with the steins, she quipped,
Don't worry, yours is for show, and I assure you it won't go to waste.
She took the chair across from me, and after a long quaff from her glass, she pulled her shoulder-length hair behind her ears, and she began.
First, I want to make clear that I am no threat to you. I am a scientist, and for my background and studies, I have a good understanding of the natural world and your part in it.
You have an understanding of vampires. I glanced around the bar as I spoke and saw that no one was paying any attention to us.
My parents immigrated from Eastern Europe before I was born, where stories of the undead were commonly told bedtime stories, so I heard them from them. As I grew up, I was intrigued by them and how real they seemed to my mom and dad. And as my interest in medicine developed, I sought out scientific explanations for such things.
She was now studying my face, and when I nodded, her expression softened.
I am currently finishing my medical residency and working in a research lab.
Donna, I am giving you a great deal of leeway here, but I have very little interest in hearing about a childhood of rustic, superstitious horror tales that led you to look for a rational analysis of anything. Get to the point. You said you need me.
I'm sorry. Context is my Achilles heel. So yes, I know you and others like you are real. I know that you feed on blood and can live forever. I believe there is something in the chemical makeup of your blood that results in this. Meanwhile, the world is at war and men are dying. There is talk that our country could enter the conflict soon and many more will die. But I am a doctor. I am sworn to save lives. As you would expect, our stockpiles of blood for transfusions and surgeries is in short supply. We need to find another way to help the wounded. I believe that the best solution to this shortage would be if we could find a way to manufacture a synthetic blood that would not be rejected by the body and thus save lives. However, rudimentary experiments with the blood of pigs, cattle, or other animals have been unsuccessful. There is something missing.
I chuckled as a possibility materialized in my mind. You want me to heal your soldiers by turning them into vampires?
Goodness, no!
She instinctively reached across the table and grabbed my hand.
I mean, I don't hate vampires, or think they're inherently evil or anything.
She pulled her hand away, but the warmth lingered. This was something I missed from the time before my transformation. The coldness in my body was another side effect, and a change that made me feel a little less alive.
I don't want an army of vampires. War is about death, but your existence is about defeating death. I need you, just a sample of your blood to experiment with. to see if combining it with the blood of other animals will make it safe and effective for saving patients.
Dawna's eyes were deep with beseeching. Her torment from the thought of so many deaths of her fellow humans was set hard upon her countenance, and she was looking for a chance to ease her pain. And adding vampire blood to pig blood will do this? I became aware of the huge chance Dawna was taking, risking her life to approach a predator from another planet to ask for a vial of his own life's fluid. I had never before met an Earth human so brave.
I don't know if it will work, but it's something I think is worth a try. If it does work, it will change our world.
With her request now spoken, I saw her body relax and color return to her cheeks. There was a beauty now that I dare say revealed her soul as something connected to a bigger purpose, a communal sense of love and wonder for life itself. And for the first time in centuries, I felt that same love for her. Of course, I will let you have my blood. I placed my open hand palm up on the table. When shall we do this?
First, I want you to feed. That was your plan, and I believe it will work the best if you are at your peak condition. Will you come to my home tomorrow night?
I blinked a moment. I accept your invitation. Dawna wrote her address on a napkin, and I pocketed it. She emptied her glass, took a swallow from mine, and we both stood. When she touched my arm, I shivered from the spark I felt in her fingertips. Outside, we parted, me toward the park, and her in the opposite direction. My Italian excursion was a blur as I was distracted by thoughts of Dawna and what the next night would bring. The outskirts of Rome provided an easy selection of weakened and dying humans living without hope, and as I drained an old man, I could feel his surrender to a journey to a better place in the beyond. Upon my return to my hotel, I retired at sunrise and slept deeply. Soon it was evening, and my eyes opened to a rosy western sky outside, peeking barely around the heavy shade covering my window. The Earth's sun safely below the horizon as I made ready to meet Dawna. When she opened her door in answer to my knock, she greeted me with her welcoming smile.
Come in, please.
Her small home was simply decorated in a traditional style, with a few antiques I could identify from previous Earth visits. She asked polite questions about my past, and I told her of Ababo and our transformation to a society almost without death. The only deaths recorded now on Ababo are those who have aged for eternities and to whom life no longer holds any real interest. Gladly, none of my history seemed to shock her. After a couple of hours of getting to know each other, Dawna sighed and then said,
All right, Bozi, let's get started.
And I held out my arm ready to feel her kind warmth once again. As she discovered, and I already knew, my skin is impenetrable to earth metal instruments, but my fangs did the job, opening my wrists so she could then fill a syringe with my blood. Her touch was always gentle, and her demeanor quiet and genuine. And after a second vial was drawn, she carefully wrapped my wrist in gauze, even while I protested that the wound would heal before she finished taping it.
Let me take care of it. I'll never be able to thank you enough, Bozi.
I did not want the evening to end. Is it enough? Do you need more?
Enough for now.
I hope your experiments are successful, and yet a part of me hopes they are not.
I understand. Will you come to see me again?
To give you another sample?
That, but not just that.
Then yes, I will. I left her 15 minutes later, and after one more night of feeding, this time in Poland, I returned to Ababo for a while. But the pull to see Dawna was strong, and I returned more than once. Her experiments with my blood were unsuccessful, which weighed on her, but my visits seemed to take some of that pain and set it aside, if just for a moment. Regardless, her medical career flourished, and she saved lives. She never spoke of my preying on other humans, respecting my needs as I did hers, and we grew closer, our relationship deepening into love, and we spent more time together than apart. Then one night I asked if she would let me turn her, allowing us to spend an eternity together, but she refused, saying,
"Life for me is in the moments, and I cherish the ones we've had. But it's also about beginnings and endings. I need those too."
Hearing her words wounded me. I left without saying goodbye, not to hurt her, but to protect me. I have not returned to Earth since, but recently Donna has been on my mind again. I wondered if her experiments with vampire blood ever yielded positive results. Sadly, I find they did not. And I found out one more thing. Donna had a child months after I left, and I believe he is my son. On Ababo, births are rare, as eternal life requires close management of resources. New lives make that more complicated, so the thought of what it means to be a parent is one I have never considered. But out of respect for Donna and her child, I feel a need to do something, and that is why I am contacting your Space Croutons program. Curdy, if I am the father of Donna's child, then your father is my son, and that makes you my grandson. Rest assured I am asking for nothing from you, but only wanted you to know the truth. You may contact me whenever, if ever you wish.
I knew the Premonotion app would bring us some wild tales, but I never anticipated this.
You and me both, Sally. Listeners, I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. In fact, I can't even imagine what my dad would say. I mean, I never knew my dad's dad, but, well, my grandma Donna meant the world to me. How about we just go ahead and close the show, Sally? And maybe by next time I'll have gathered some thoughts and we can discuss this further. In the meantime, if anyone out there has any advice for me about this news, please get in touch. I could use some. Can you finish up, Sally? I think I need to go lie down for a bit.
You got it, Curdy. Thanks for listening, Space Croutonians, and keep peace in your heart until our next story time.
Don't just sit and scoff. Season 5 is taking off. Here to show wrong from right. Share with you the true light. Even though things might be tight, your future's bright so the writers can write. Now, give us the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Space Croutons, Curdy. Space Croutons, Sally. Space Croutons, Space Croutons.
You know, alien.
I'll give you alien.
Space croutons again and again. No matter where, no matter when. There to be found, the legendary now. So let's count up. Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.0. Now here we go. Space croutons, Curdy. Space croutons, Sally. Space croutons, Space croutons. Because in space, no one can hear you sing.
Whitney Houston, we have a problem.
Space Croutons is a work of original fiction. Similarities to persons, situations, or events, real or fictional, is coincidental and unintentional. Created and written by Jerry, Jace, John, Della, and Jeff Goodson. Episode story by Jeff. Original music by Levi, John, Della, Jerry, and Jeff. Production by Jeff. Featuring the voice talents of Monica Smith, Jerry, Jeff, and Sally. Entire work copyright 2024 by Jeff, John, Jerry, Della, and Jace Goodson. This has been a Good Witch audio production.